Good afternoon, everyone. Our panel is about collaboration and innovation. In our case, it's international cross-border collaboration. I don't know if any of you were at the International Forum yesterday, so there was a lot of discussion about that. Thank you. And people here are a very perfect example of everything that was discussed yesterday. Our program, it's called BIRD. It's Binational Industrial Research and Development, nothing to do with birds. It is a binational fund between the government of the United States and the government of Israel. It's been around for a very long time, since 1977, in fact. It was formed to promote the joint development of and commercialization of innovative technologies by funding projects between U.S. and Israeli companies. So the fund, or both governments, who put in equal amounts of money, it's a risk-sharing mechanism. So we're putting in up to 50% of the combined project budget between two companies, one from the United States and one from Israel. And we can put in up to $1.5 million per project. So that would be for a project of $3 million. So it requires cost share. Everyone has skin in the game, the governments and the companies. And if the project is successful, the companies pay us back, like an evergreen fund. So successful projects pay forward so that other companies can enjoy the public funding above and beyond what our yearly budget allows. The companies here are examples of projects that we funded in the quantum area. We fund projects in all different technologies except for military-specific technologies, which we're not involved with. But in quantum, since 2020, we funded 3 projects, and 2 of them with their representative companies are sitting here. So what we're going to speak about today, we're going to learn about each of the companies, a little about their project and their collaboration, what makes for a collaboration, where are they currently in their project, and hopefully you'll have some questions for us. So let's start it off with each person here introducing themselves and telling us a little bit about their company, and then I'll have some questions regarding their projects. We'll start it off here with Yonatan.
Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Yonatan Cohen. I'm the CTO and one of the founders at Quantum Machines. At Quantum Machines, we develop control electronics, the classical control electronics of the quantum computer. So every quantum computer has a control system, a classical control system, which is kind of the heart of the classical side of the computer. This is the part that is responsible to generate and to orchestrate the signals that communicate with the quantum processor, the signals that operate, that drive the quantum processor. That's what we do at Quantum Machines. We're the biggest pure quantum control company in the world today, with 160 people spread in 7 countries, with more than 300 customers around the globe, where we have customers all the way from some of the biggest companies working on quantum computers out there, through startups, many names that you know that are actually working with our controllers, and of course academia and some of the biggest national labs, for example here in the U.S. and in other places. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Nate Gemelke. I'm one of the co-founders and CTO at QuEra Computing. So we make the bottom half of that stack that we were just hearing about. We make the processors themselves. We're a small company, but we make very large processors. We make some of the largest quantum processors on Earth. And we use neutral atoms as our quantum bits. So the computers that we build have basically a vacuum chamber with nothing in it except for the qubits that we want to manipulate. And what we do is we grab each of those qubits, which is a single atom with a focused laser beam, and then we flip its internal electronic state using laser light. And so we use that technique to build processors that right now online you can use our first generation processor, Aquila, which is an analog Hamiltonian simulator. at the 256 qubit scale, and we are working now to commercialize gate-based quantum processors that even have capabilities for error correction and eventually, hopefully, fault tolerance built into them. And these are basically being built as we speak in a laboratory in Boston where we're headquartered.
Thank you, Nate. Hi, my name is Elkanah Ben Sinai, Chief Business Officer at Quantum Art. Quantum Art was founded 2.5 years ago based on more than 20 years of research from the Weizmann Institute by 3 industry veterans. We are developing a full quantum computer, a full stack quantum computer based on trapped ions, which are, we believe, the best qubits in terms of performance. I'm not sure everyone will agree with me, but that's our understanding. And already in early stage, we realized that scaling up is the challenge, and we hear it all over the place here. So we have defined an architecture which should address it, and this architecture stands on 3 main innovations, 3 main pillars. One is multi-qubit gates. Unlike the industry who are doing single qubit gates or 2 qubit gates, we are doing multi-qubit gates, which basically allows the qubits to communicate with each other simultaneously. We have a segmentation architecture, so we can partition the chain to cores, and all these cores can run in parallel without interfering each other. And we also have this segmentation is dynamic. We can change it. We do it with optical manner, so we can do it. We can do a very quick resegmentation. We are about 40 people right now, mostly physicists with PhD from leading universities, as well as industry veterans. And yeah, we have a roadmap, but I guess we'll get to it later.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Hrant Gharibyan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of BlueQubit. We are a California-based startup looking into quantum applications and quantum software. So our team is primarily made up of quantum algorithms experts who do QAOA, variational algorithms, quantum machine learning, and have expertise in like mapping hard classical problems into quantum solutions and quantum frameworks. And then we have a very strong software engineering and simulation team, like specializing in quantum simulation, to test and scale and benchmark those algorithms in GPUs before we move to running on actual quantum computers. So we're pretty excited with all the progress quantum hardware companies have made in the past decade, and we think that it's time. These devices are getting really interesting and really hard to mimic classically, so it's going to be a race for finding the early use cases. And yeah, we are pretty excited about specifically quantum machine learning use case that's part of this engagement with BERT Foundation and collaboration with Quantum Art.
So now we're going to find out a little bit about the projects themselves. So we'll start with Yonatan, if you could talk about a little bit about what your collaboration entails. And Nate, if you could talk a little bit about where you've come so far. Their project is the later project. The project with Quantum Art and BlueQubit are the newlyweds in the BERT program. And we'll ask you some questions about yours as well.
All right, so I think QuEra and QM, we connected around the vision to create and to bring to market a truly scalable quantum classical interface for neutral atom-based quantum computers, and also other optically addressed quantum computers, actually. So we believe that the interface between the quantum processor and the classical control system is one of the most important and one of the more challenging also components that actually needs to go through a real revolution, a real phase transition in order to create large-scale and high-performing quantum computers. And so the technical challenge here is that you need very accurate signals to control the quantum processor. And as you scale up, you need more and more such signals. Okay, and you need to do it in a way that's scalable. You need to do it in a way that you can assemble these many control elements that generate those signals, assemble them compactly in an affordable manner, and in a relatively simple manner, and eventually that they're also controllable by simple software. So all of that needs to happen. And unfortunately today, it doesn't exist. This solution doesn't exist actually in any qubit type. This is why you see those giant labs with like crazy amounts of wires, like large, wires, and then, or, optical labs that are, have, many optical components and so on. Well, now the fundamental technology to do that does exist, thanks to the technology that comes from Dirk England's lab at MIT, silicon nitride photonic chips technology, which is very, very innovative and very, I believe, revolutionary, especially for our field. And so now the fundamental technology exists to create what we need specifically for neutral atoms and other optically addressed QPUs, which is to create an array of laser modulators, a large array of many laser modulators on a single piece of chip, okay? And that's, when we learned about this technology that QuEra was developing, we're very excited about that. And since we connected already back before that around the vision to do like good control, and in a way that integrates to the QPUs, we were very excited to launch this project where we set the goal to basically create this silicon nitride photonic chip, which is a multi-channel laser modulator, and integrate it to our flagship product, the OPX1000, the control, the kind of heart of the control system, the brain of the control system, integrate it in a manner that eventually brings to market a full system, a full product, where again, you can from simple software now program tens and later on hundreds of laser beams and control each of them individually. And we believe this can be very revolutionary for the next wave of optically addressed quantum computers. Yeah.
I mean, who would have known we'd be sitting here at this point talking about this now? Because I think when we started our two companies, it was about the same time, right? I think you guys started in 2019. We were basically the same time. And, honestly, QuEra laid out a roadmap for what we needed to do to make truly powerful quantum computers, and we said this is our 10-year roadmap. And then I think 5 years later, we had basically achieved everything that was on our 10-year roadmap. And part of that is that neutral atoms are very, very easy quantum systems to scale, and part of it is because we don't use broken atoms, which is what I call ions. Yeah. One of the advantages that we have is that atoms don't interact with each other unless we tell them to. And that means that we can build very large-scale systems and then one by one tell the atoms to really interact with each other and create quantum gates and so forth. But the way that we do that is with laser light. So we called up these guys who were the world's experts in control systems for quantum computers, and we said, do you have a control system that works at 10 to the 14 hertz? Because that is the frequency of oscillation of an optical wave. And they said, no, we have it at a gigahertz. We said, well, that's okay. We've got some people that really are pushing the edge with a technology that's just coming into its own beside quantum computing, which is integrated photonics, methods of semiconductor processing applied to optical materials that can really increase the scale of control that we have at cost. And we had a team that had a breakthrough in silicon nitride photonics that you're just hearing about, and suddenly our cost scaling for a quantum computer of massive size went from being all about photonic control down to being about electronic control, because we needed electronics to drive the optics. And these guys had the right strategy for how to make that cost scaling work at scale. And so we recognized where our strengths were, we recognized where their strengths were, we saw very good alignment on that. And we also saw the fact that there are other optically controlled qubits out there that could benefit from systems that we would build together, and we realized there's a broader market for this thing than just inside of QuEra's roadmap. And there's strength in numbers. If we can use that to control other qubits, we're learning from those systems as well. So we realized this is an opportunity to work together, and we were so lucky to find the Bird Foundation and their support, and really focused on making sure that we were successful with that. And I gotta say, even the application process taught us things about how to do business better.
So before relating collaboration, I just need to answer to relate to Nate. So we are actually taking advantage of the fact that the ions are interacting with each other, and when one moves, it moves the whole chain, and that allows us to communicate with distance.
Sometimes if you put a lot of broken things.
No, there. Okay. So actually, this is an advantage, but In terms of collaboration, yeah, we took upon ourselves a huge challenge, and developing a full stack computer is definitely a big challenge. So definitely collaboration is the heart of our strategy, and we need to collaborate with hardware companies, software companies, and mostly applications. One should realize that a quantum computer is completely different from a classical computer in all aspects, in the amount of data, in the complexity, in the fact that you operate on multiple values simultaneously, the output probability. So the programming and actually the algorithm definition is completely different. It requires a dedicated expertise. And therefore, we're so lucky to team with BlueQubit, who are expert in these algorithms, and specifically in image processing. I'll just say the title, and Nate will elaborate, but really the aim of the project is really to leverage the quantum computing capabilities to enhance image processing. In image processing, there are a lot of functions that can be exponentially expedite with quantum computers, and that's the target of our joint project, and we are really looking forward. As you said, we are just at the beginning, but so far it looks great.
Thank you. Yeah. So Quantum Art and BlueQubit, we met like several months ago and started conversations. I think they have a unique architecture for building trapped ion quantum computers. That was really interesting to us, since we built, we have done some work on variational quantum algorithms for image classification, image loading, and we work with different quantum hardwares like IBM machines and Quantinuum machines. And then we have this flexibility of designing like the algorithm, the architecture of the quantum algorithm based on hardware connectivity and features. And I think one thing that was very unique about Quantum Art's technique is this like flexible, scale-up architecture with the kind of that allows us to develop unique algorithms fit for their hardware specifically. And this, I think, for early discovery of quantum use cases, where like we can find like advantage or like the early evidence of quantum advantage, I think it's very important to make sure the use case, application, and algorithm and hardware are very work very closely together and are tailored to each other. And our main expertise in BlueQubit side is like numerical algorithms, which we test and train on GPUs, can take advantage of classical compute in the design of the quantum algorithm. So it's like very hybrid frameworks. And we're very excited to the hardware technology that Quantum Art has developed and is planning to scale. I think we're getting to 20 plus qubit systems that are really interesting, like controlling these qubits in a coherent manner and learning how to scale it with the algorithms. I think that's the way we will get to quantum advantage eventually.
So the theme that's coming out of this session is all about the synergy. So it's all about the synergy between the two companies. That's what really makes our program special, and that's what allows the technology and the collaboration to hopefully reach the commercial end and outcome. How much time do we have? Do we have time for some Q&A? Bob?
10 minutes.
Okay, great. So we'll start off with anyone here. Any questions about the collaborations, the program, how the companies come together?
Yes. I'll jump in. Can you talk a little more about the process by how these companies are kind of finding each other, and what role Berg Foundation is playing? Are you meeting at quantum events like this? I mean, in general, you're not just doing quantum, but how are these matches actually made?
So it can happen in a lot of different ways, and the companies can talk about how they met. I mean, I feel very proud of the fact that that the two companies, Quantum Art and BlueQubit, it started here at Quantum World Congress last year. So that's a big accomplishment as far as I'm concerned. But I'll let the companies address that themselves, how they met. I can say that we help companies, we introduce companies to each other all the time. Some companies meet in conferences like this, or through other means, and then they hear about our program, and then it gives them the catalyst to move forward, the funding to move forward, and the framework to do so as well. But they can address it
First of all, I'll take advantage of the fact that I have the microphone to talk about the previous question, because I think Nate was also a bit humble, because you asked where the project is, and I think, without saying too much, but I think the silicon nitride photonic chip is progressing amazingly well. So, at the end of the day, this is about bringing technology, to reality, and this is happening, and this is pretty amazing, because this is fundamental technology. This is like new hardware on the material level, integrated photonics, and it's working. I don't know how much we want to expose the actual specs, but it's working really nicely, and we're very excited about integrating it all to a single product. So this is where we are with the project, and it's really exciting that it's succeeding. And how we met, I think, there are, I think, kind of a few threads. Yeah, there's Well, in our case, we clearly, one of the reasons we met was that we tried to convince QuEra to use our electronics, right? Because that's what we try to do with everyone who's building quantum computers. And I think immediately there was a good personal connection and professional connection, because I think we kind of see things in the same manner in terms of, how to build good control. And at the end of the day, it's all about people. So we had good connection, then we had a few threads, and then the BIRD Foundation came, and we really kind of connected around this new laser modulator array, which is something that, we were looking into a way to go into optically addressed quantum computers more, because we traditionally come from superconducting qubits and spin qubits, and as Nate said, we're working on gigahertz, and this is for us, the way to go into the terahertz regime, right? This is really the project that we were looking for, kind of to go into neutral atoms and other optically addressed based computers. So.
Yeah, when you asked where did we meet, I can't remember a quantum ecosystem without quantum machines in it. So I can't remember. Well, I think it was when we were trying to figure out a name for QuEra computing, we went through all the possibilities, and damn it, the quantum machines is already taken, which was your first and pretty big accomplishment. But yeah, I think I do want to say that I'm kind of proud of the moment that we're in, because quantum computing, in a lot of ways, was a following industry, and the technology came from other places. Quantum sensing, timekeeping, things like that really drove the front edge of the effort. But I think now we kind of flipped the script a little bit, and I think actually the things that we're building to make quantum computing possible now are also useful in other industries, some of which are even bigger. And I think we're producing technology now that, I think what we're making together is useful in the telecommunications industry. And I'm kind of proud that quantum computing is able to lead a technology charge like that with the big boys in these bigger industries that are really using a lot of this material. I forgot what the question was, but I'm going to pass the mic.
Are we?
No, but unless there are answers, I have another question. So first, is it correct that the BIRD funding is an unsecured loan that basically you hope to return it, but if not, then it's not the end of the world?
We call it a recoverable grant. So if it succeeds, then there's the royalty repayment to us that's non-dilutive and capped. If it doesn't succeed, there's no repayment to us. If it's partially successful, maybe we'll have something given back. But overall, we don't select the projects on the basis of if we think they'll repay us. That's not part of the criteria. We want to see innovation, cutting edge, risky, with the real opportunity for some kind of new breakthrough in the industry and in the market.
And the follow-up question, and the answer may be different for both pairs here, for both couples. Would the collaboration have happened without the funding from the BIRD Foundation?
It's a good question, because we don't know, but I think to collaborate, you need several aspects. First, you need the collaboration mentality, right? You realize that the challenge is huge, you need to collaborate. Then you need the network, meet in such events, and in our case, we met also in another kind of accelerator. Third, you need the chemistry between people, and I think here it was great. We were really lucky to find super smart people and super nice people. And then you need a framework, and BERT provided this aspect, and BERT provide guidance. They provide, of course, they help in the funding. They also help us in aspects of commercialization. So you need the framework, and it's really good to have it. If it would have happened without that, could be, but definitely it's very helpful to have BERT.
Yeah, totally agree with all of it. I think we started interactions, the conversations, and it could have happened. But I think having the proposal, the learning about opportunity, definitely was like a way to learn about each other. Like even we might have worked together even if we didn't get it, but if we got it, it's even extra motivator. So I think it's definitely a great opportunity. And indeed, we learned about it by meeting Andrea last year at QWC. So if you have a quantum company, you see some good partners in Israel, or your Israeli company, and there's a nice collaboration opportunity in the U.S., definitely consider applying.
That brings me to one last question, if we have a few more minutes, or even less. Why Israel? So this is a U.S.-Israel program, but I don't think we addressed why Israel. Could be any country for that matter. So I wanted to ask those in our panel from Israel to talk a little bit about what Israel's doing in the quantum industry and what makes it so significant, and why would U.S. companies be looking for a partner there?
Okay, that's a good question. I mean, so Israel, as we typically do, I think we're perhaps a little bit late into the quantum game, or perhaps a lot late to the quantum game, actually. Like if you look like maybe 7 years ago, there was basically no quantum computing industry. Maybe there was like one quantum cryptography, but there was no quantum computing industry in Israel. We were the first quantum computing startup, and this was like 6.5 years ago. So we were very late, I think, to quantum, but as always, we just run fast in Israel. We run fast, we break things, but we move eventually. And I think today we actually have very developed ecosystem. I think over 20 quantum companies in various stages, all the way from full stack companies like Quantum Art that is really going for the full deal, building a full stack quantum computer. Through companies like us making, components, hardware components, and then software components. Companies like Kedma, Classic, very serious companies also on the global scale. So we're seeing this kind of very fast rise of the, and I think it's also a lot because of the collaboration with American companies. To be honest, I think. One of our strategy was to go to market as soon as possible, and also what we did with the Quantum Computing Center in Israel, which we at Quantum Machines are actually running. We won the Israeli government tender to establish the Quantum Center in Israel, and the strategy there was to bring quantum processors from abroad, because back then the full stack companies like Quantum Art only started, and we did want to bring a lot of the community, especially from the U.S., to collaborate with Israel, to bring the knowledge, companies like QuEra and so on. So that's what we do, and I think we're doing pretty well these days. The Israeli government does put significant funding. I mean, it's not anything like happening here or in China or in some places in Europe, but compared to the size of Israel, I think it's actually pretty significant, and we hope that they do more of this. And of course, funding agencies like BERT. So this is really, I think this is really important, because beyond the money, it's forcing these collaborations between Israeli companies and U.S. companies, and I think it's really, really great. So.
Thanks to all of our panelists.
Very good. Thank you to all of you.